Coming up on OTH, we're playing a little bit of catch up by finally talking about MSI, patch 12.9, 12.10, and talking about some of the roster changes that are happening for the LCS Summer Split. We hope you enjoyed this episode of On the Hunt. Welcome, everybody, to episode, I don't even know the episode number. Let me double check. 56.
56.
On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris, a.k.a. The Ultimate Gamer. Because, I mean, it's been a while since we got together, man, and I actually bought a new graphics card quite some time ago. I shelled out, like, I want to say $1,100.
Damn, okay.
A sweet NVIDIA RTX, actually, 3080, 12 gigabyte.
Holy shit, dude.
And I got one that allegedly has good cooling on it. And I just kind of take people on Reddit's word for that. And, League of Legends still plays the same way. So there's no difference.
Yeah, I don't think you were buying that for League of Legends.
Yeah, probably not. And, our commentator here is our other co-host, Raymund, who I've missed very dearly. And, yeah, man, it's been over. I think the last time we talked was like April. How's it going, man?
Shit, has it really been that long?
It's yeah, good. I looked back.
Yeah, it's been a while, I guess. That's all. It's more of the same. Nothing crazy has happened to me, so just going along, playing some games.
Yeah, same with me. I've gotten a little sick in the last week, like strangely, and it's like a flu sick when it's like hot as balls outside. So I'm ultra confused.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah, I've had like a cough for about a week now, and it just doesn't. It's starting to go away, but I have destroyed some red cherry halls in the last week. I've probably eaten like 50 of these motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you can talk here.
Oh, yeah. Like, sometimes when I'm at work, I can't say a full sentence without, like, having to cough in the middle of it. But when I'm at home, sometimes it'll be better, probably because of my, like, air purifier, which, is the copium that I tell myself that makes the purchase worth it. But I think we're on the recovering end now.
That's good. I'm glad to hear. If you need a timeout, just go ahead and give you the signal. We can take a break. You can go get another cherry halls.
I know, right? I've got one right now. So on the gaming front, I see you've been playing some Diablo 3. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's been all right. Do you know about the Diablo Immortal, the like mobile game that came out? Have you heard about that?
I know about it. I heard that you can shell out a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
Just to be the strongest, and that you can play it on mobile and your computer. And I mean, I haven't tried it, but yeah, that's all I've heard about it.
Yeah, I was like, I played a lot of D3 throughout the years. I mean, that game came out a fucking long time ago, so I played a lot of that over the years. So I gave Diablo Immortal a try, and then that's a good game. That's a good game. Just the fact that you can like play it on your phone, I'm like kind of digging that. So like I can not play it while I'm at work, but just be away from my computer and playing the game. It's pretty good for a phone game. It feels a little weird for a game on your PC, but it also made a couple of my buddies be like, damn, I haven't played D3 in a while, so we made new characters in that game just to go through it. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Nice little change of pace.
I heard the dungeons in Immortal, I heard they take like 2 minutes, and that makes it kind of fun.
Yeah, it is pretty nice. I feel like every time I try to play it, it's like there are parts where like you get into a dungeon or something and I'm like, ooh, I should make sure that I have time to play this, and then you actually then I sit down and open it up and it's like, yeah, I'm done in 5 minutes. Even like the longest part is just like if you have to wait for a party queue or something. But it's usually pretty nice. I just tried to do the raid in it today, and that actually like kicked their asses. Like I could not do the raid.
Oh man, it sounds like you're gonna have to shell out pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll see, dude. We'll see. I think if it gets to the point where I have to shell out to do better in that game, I'm gonna stop playing that game.
Yeah, just for me, I've just still been playing a lot of Lost Ark. The only game I've been playing for like 4 months. I think I did dabble in some ARAMs in like the past month, but like by some I mean like three games maybe.
Not bad.
And they made so many changes to Swain, dude. It's like it felt like very odd to me playing him. But anyways,
Are you playing the
yeah,
new
let's talk about
TFT
some League
set?
of Legends today,
Oh,
man.
sorry. I'm gonna make you say it. Are
Oh
you gonna play
God,
the new
no.
TFT set?
No, sorry. No, no. I think I'm over that game. And I'm not excited. I was kind of watching some streams of some people playing it on PBE, which is crazy because apparently the PBE had like queues to get in to play set 7 because there's only like one PBE server, I think, like for the whole world.
Yeah, that is kind of
Um,
wild.
but yeah, I'm pretty over that game. I don't see myself going back to it anytime soon.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, we have a whole lot of topics to catch up on in the League of Legends universe, and pretty much we're going to split some topics between this week doing a little bit of catch up, and then next week we'll get more into the present tense with what's going on lately. So first, let's start with the major tournament that just passed on by us, and we're just going to have to do a quick little recap on the whole thing and maybe just some highlights with the entire mid-season invitational that took place in Busan, Korea, I believe.
Hmm.
And I didn't watch too many of the games, but I kept along the whole way. And I just wrote down some like quick notes here of like some major key highlights that happened throughout the whole thing. So, the first stages pretty much went the way that we thought it would. A lot of the major regions were beating all of the minor regions. I think that in the group that we care about, some G2 versus G2 versus EG games were actually, fairly fair games, but G2 ended up winning all of them. So there was the smallest bit of hopium there that,
Yeah.
we were somehow going to do okay, but also like a lot of hope for G2 going into the Rumble stage as well. And they ended up going some insane, like I want to say 20 win streak following like, in addition to their fat run at the end of LEC.
Yeah, that was pretty wild for G2. I mean, just like I mean, it's obviously kind of a perfect storm of ways to get free wins is beat up on EU, which is a
Yeah,
free region, and then beat up on NA and OCE, which are also free regions, right, for like 25 games in a row. But it's pretty
yeah.
wild nonetheless, just to have that kind of consistency.
And then also just as a part of the, I guess, group stages, there was some sort of thing where for some reason the artificial ping that they were pumping into the whole tournament because RNG had to play remote due to some restrictions from the homeland, not allowing them to travel. And they had to replay some of their matches from the group stage, and they just beat them all over again. I think it was PSG and some other people. I can't remember their group at this time. But
Yeah, it's been too long.
yeah, just kind of a crazy thing where like from a lot of the media that I was kind of watching, I was watching some like JLXP, the dive and stuff like that. A lot of them were just kind of like, I guess this is the best solution. Summoning Insight too. Like I guess this is the best solution, but we shouldn't have been in this scenario in the first place, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just really a shame that they had to play remotely and then they replay their matches and they have to beat these guys again. And I guess it feels kind of bad for them.
Yeah, that did kind of suck. I think it, like you said, I think given this scenario, it's just the best case thing. But I mean, it just that one I think felt pretty bad because either you wanted RNG there and it's like, well, now they have to redo these matches, like you're treating them unfairly, kind of thing, and or like you didn't like that RNG is the only team playing remote and forcing all these restrictions on other people, and it was like, damn, now they're like just gonna go through and like they're making it harder for everyone else. The ping restriction or ping thing was affecting everybody. Like, it was just a kind of a messed up thing for the tournament to have to deal with, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that later on they did end up putting out, I want to say like a technical diary of like how the ping thing worked, how it was messed up at the start, and how they fixed it.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're one of those kind of network guys, that might interest you. And then just some, I guess, interesting topics moving into the group stage. I think, the G2 hype kind of lived on for the first half of it, I want to say. And then all of a sudden they went like 0-5 at some point, I want to say. Of course, NA coming in for the save and giving them a win once again at the end of it all. But in the end, I think I saw something that like major regions versus minor regions at MSI, they ended up going like 33-3, and then funnily enough, EG versus major regions went some odd record like 1-9, having a upset victory over T1. And I
Hey,
want to
but they
say that
beat
like in
T1.
I know,
Yeah.
right? And I think I heard another thing in total that like across MSI there was like 66 best of ones or something like that took place. And I've never thought of it that way. Just like, well, wow, I guess we did just watch 60 best of ones, and like a lot of
Right.
them don't matter because it's major versus minor region, and then another set of matches don't matter because the records or the placements are already locked in, and like so like if EG has already lost to G2 3 times, the fourth game doesn't matter. I guess it's just more for morale or like personal achievements, but just some interesting like perspectives on like the format of MSI and a lot of conversations around that going on at the time.
Yeah, this was definitely, I think, a good, well, not good. It's a case study for MSI for sure, I'd say. Like the I don't disagree. Like I think there's a good there's a world where this format is nice, like where you have this initial tournament, like not the play-ins anymore, but the group stage, and you get to see, all these minor regions that played for this chance to play on a big stage. They get that chance and they can face off against the RNGs and the T1s and this kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um, and like those can be good matches, but when it's so lopsided, it's just so sad to watch, and it feels like it just drags out forever. Um, the Rumble part, the second stage still felt like a good group stage. I don't know that I care so much about the round robin part being best of ones again, because I feel like realistically it is just like a best of two, but spread out over a couple days, right? I don't know. I like the Rumble stage still, and then the best of fives weren't like let down best of fives. I don't think. So like I can see. I feel like the problem is now that just since they've made the group stage like a true part of the tournament rather than like the play-in of it, where before you kind of it felt like, oh, I don't have to watch group stage. Like if you did the same thing with this tournament, I feel like you'd be okay with the tournament overall, right? Like there's some decent storylines just from the second and third stages, but put them all together and it just felt pretty dragged out and like you were beating a dead horse.
yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I still fairly enjoyed the second stage of it all, and I think that yeah, the highs and lows that G2 experienced, and then kind of bouncing back and forth of like how is RNG and how is T1 doing so far, and how are they gonna fare against each other, these top three teams so to speak, at the tournament. And I was kind of on the G2 train for a little bit, but in the end, I think RNG finished in the first place, T1 second. I want to see G2 in third and EG as fourth, and then moving into the semifinals, I believe RNG got to pick their opponent, so they picked EG, and then that left T1 versus G2 on the other side of the bracket. And then both semifinals were quick 3-0s. I think it was on that Friday, Saturday that it happened. But not that there were bad games or anything, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think if anything, the G2 series was like more of a stomp than the EG one, but they were still like not horrible games. It wasn't like 17-minute roller roller coaster or what's the steamrollers. That's what it is. It wasn't that bad, but they were not like, yeah, it wasn't the finals. The finals was a 3-2. That one was kind of a banger, but took a bit to get there.
Yeah, I really liked that the finals was 3-2 again for LPL versus LCK. We had the World's Finals be a 3-2, and then coming back into this, it's a 3-2 again. Where the both teams, it wasn't a reverse sweep either. It's just like one team wins a game and then the other team wins it back, and that just keeps things really exciting for like, oh man, who's gonna win this game and how's that going to be? Although there's a lot of draft talk, throughout the whole tournament about how it really felt like Blue Side was kind of dominating a lot of things because there was some, just the way the meta was, there was a couple of like must bans throughout the tournament, and also just a couple of meta shifts occurred as well, in part due to the last moment patch 12.8 that brought in some adjustments. I think that affected Lucian, Wukong, and a couple other notable champions that appeared a lot throughout MSI. And I kind of wanted to talk about that today, just for for fun. So we haven't done this in a while, but kind of brought the stats from Games of Legend. So wanted to go over some of the most picked and banned champions throughout MSI. So top 5 most banned, that was Lucian at 74. Holy crap. Which kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I think that's really just from the changes in 12.8 that he got.
I think that part of that too is like Lucian Nami is such a good combo, and Lucian's the way easier one to ban out of that. It's like, the like you're not going to play Nami with anything else probably, and the Lucian's can be flexed into mid and that kind of stuff. So one ban deals with all of that at once, and you just don't have to worry.
Next we have LeBlanc, 49 picks and bans. Wukong at 48. Wukong really popped off at this tournament, actually. Ari right behind them at 47. And then Kalista made a surprise showing in this tournament as well. 32 picks and bans throughout the whole thing. And then for a little lane-by-lane breakdown, and top lane, most picked and banned champions were Gwen, Gangplank, Ornn, Gnar, and Kennen. Gwen in first place by a lot. In jungle, there was Viego, Wukong, Lee Sin, Graves, and Nocturne. So a little surprising to see Nocturne slip into there for so many times. For mid, we had Ari the most, followed by TF, LeBlanc, Galio, and Zoe. I'm a little surprised to see Galio and Zoe show up so much. I thought we were going to see a little bit more of like maybe something else like Vex. But cool to see those Galio and Zoe slip into the top 5 there. For bot lane, we saw a lot less Jinx due to the kind of the nerfs that she suffered in 12.8. So we saw a lot of Kai'Sa, Ezreal, and possibly in part due to the ping. When you have Ezreal's E, it makes you feel a lot more safe against these high ping environments. I guess 35 ping is high ping. Followed by Xayah, Tristana, and Aphelios, who did see some play despite his nerfs in the last patch as well. And then lastly, as support, we have most picked and banned champions were Nautilus, Leona, Renata, Rakan, and Alistar. So not too much surprises there. But yeah, I was really surprised to see so much Wukong, a lot of Lucian bans, and even some Kalista picks coming through in this tournament.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent meta shift from what we saw like from the regional playoffs. I think it was interesting at the start of the tournament to hear. I mean, when the ping thing was extra weird. I don't know if it changed at all once they kind of got a hang on things and made that fixed after the first few days. But they, like, I think it was on day 1, and Faker was talking about how like the meta for this tournament is going to be based on a lot of like the ping. Like they're like their first game in groups, they played. T1 played like TF and Vi and some other like weird shit top, and it was like they're really just like, it's legit point and click. Like, we don't have to think about it. We don't have to use our hands. Just use all your abilities on the characters that matter. And I think that kind of impacted a little bit how like at least the mid lane meta was going. Like Ari was the big power pick, but a lot of the TF picks, a lot of the Galio picks, that's all kind of like revolving around that. Even Lissandra when it came down to the finals.
Yeah, some of my favorite champions coming through for sure.
True. Would have been your tournament.
Yeah, too bad I retired a couple of years ago. Yeah, so that's kind of our quick little run through of MSI, kind of the whole tournament. Over 80 games played, or I guess 75-ish. Any final words for this year's MSI? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I would say thumbs up overall. I definitely liked the hope that we kind of had for a little while. For EG at least, for as an NALCS show kind of thing. I felt like it wasn't a horrible tournament for EG. You know, the record looks bad, right? Like they only won one game against T1, and they lost every game against G2, and they lost every game against RNG. But the the games that they had, like a lot of those G2 games, felt like they could have won, should have won. You know, even like going into. But by the end of the tournament, it felt like, you know, going into the playoffs, you're really hoping for a miracle for them to beat RNG in that series. But it wasn't like they just keeled over. You saw a lot of like to be expected kind of things out of like Danny and JoJo. They handled the pressure pretty well as a team, I thought, and so I I am interested to see how they do coming out of the tournament and going into summer. But it was not a horrible tournament overall for them. And then even the hope that we had for G2 for a little bit, like when they were on their win streak, and you thought maybe they're really going to do it and just like take over the entire world, but then that fell off. It was fun though.
Yeah, I kind of want to echo your thoughts about EG. I think a lot of people share the same sentiment about like even though EG lost a lot of games against major regions, we still like, kind of walk away from it with a positive vibe. Just given that they gained so much international experience, especially for the younger players, and then we get to see that Inspired still got it. Impact was a bit hit or miss to my understanding throughout the tournament, but then Vulcan as well. We get to see that he's some of NA's also like some of NA's good talent as well.
Yeah.
So I walk away from it kind of proud of them, and like but you'll grow up soon kind of thing. I
Right.
hope to see more out of EG this year.
Dude, you know, after the tournament started, I put on the like MSI EG icon in game, and at the beginning of the game, it would always say like this player is rooting for this team if you have the icon on. I swear,
Right.
the whole tournament, as much as we can say, like it felt hopeful for EG, not like they were gonna win, but like it's a pretty good showing given the circumstances. Um, every single fucking game, it felt like there was somebody who had to have like a snarky all chat comment and be like, you know that EG lost yesterday, right? Like, wow, why are you wearing that team's icon? They fucking suck, bro. And it's like,
Yeah.
do you guys like, who are you? Who cares? Anyway, I'm over it.
Yeah. I mean, MSI is long and gone. Probably, yeah. I think it ended like 2 weeks ago, but we're just now getting around to it. We do our own thing. Speaking about just getting around to it, let's catch up on some patch notes as well. And we'll probably just kind of do an abridged version of these as well. So let's start with patch 12.9 that took place during MSI. So in this patch, they released like a whole bunch of skins. The EDG skin line, including Zoe, Graves, Viego, Yumi, and Aphelios, all super sick. As well as some more high noon skins as well, also super sick. And then champion adjustments, nerfs for Ari, Master Yi, Nidalee, Renata, Rengar, and Sion, rest in peace. And then some buffs for Braum, Hecarim, Renekton, Thresh, and Varus. And then I really just want to kind of highlight the next few changes, which were to Hullbreaker, Olaf, and Talia. And I forgot to mention Pike as well, but I don't care about him. So just to start with Hullbreaker, they made an adjustment to it where the bonus armor and magic resist you give to it is like garbage before level 12 or something like that. And so that incentivizes you to like not buy it first item.
Good change. Good smart change.
Yeah, it seems like a good change, especially with all of the whole spring season. We saw a lot of people first buying that, a lot of Tryndamere tops, Graves tops. Yeah, and just a lot of that whole meta kind of dominated for like 3-4 months. And then for Olaf, he had kind of a funny change where like you can stay in your ultimate for an infinite amount of time because he can extend it. So I just thought that was a funny thing to kind of bring up.
Yeah, definitely an interesting rework. I think, well, not a total rework, but they've, kind of just changed a little bit about how stuff works with his other abilities. But yeah, the ulti change is like kind of a big deal. I think he's gotten a decent amount of play top lane now. I think we might see him into some matchups. I don't know what pro play exactly that looks like, but in solo queue, I'm sure if you've been playing, you've seen some Olaf tops, run over people.
Yeah, they made so many adjustments to him and follow up with Talia as well, where they like changed the way that her W works, I believe, and then now her E, when she lays down the rocks, it stuns people if you try to dash through it.
Yeah.
But really, just like too many words. Yeah, almost Zeri level amount of words to describe the changes
almost
that happened to,
almost.
Yeah, to Olaf and Talia.
Yeah, a lot of lines. It feels. I think they're both kind of chance. Like if you knew what they did before, it's changes. It's like changes around that. They still have the same like pattern kind of. And if you give them a try now, like it'd be pretty easy to see what's different, what's not. But we don't need to go through every little line here.
Yeah, and then if we had to mention it, I would say the changes to Ahri, Renekton, and I guess Rengar were a bit notable coming from this patch as well. I think cooldown nerfs for Ahri, more cooldown nerfs for Renekton. I think some damage adjustments as well, and then some damage changes for Rengar as well. But this was this, yeah, and this was the smaller of the two patches that we got to discuss today, and there's even a third patch that comes out this week, and we'll be saving that for next time. So let's get into patch 12.10, the God sent durability patch that we've probably been waiting like 3 years for, because man, damage was getting way too high.
Yeah,
and I was despising Talon for like the last 3 years because of it. And so in brief, they made a lot of individual changes that kind of leads to the whole systems being changed. So in short, a lot of shields were nerfed, a lot of healing it was nerfed, grievous wounds was nerfed. I think it used to be 40%, now it reduces healing by 30%. A lot of penetration items were nerfed, including the flat pen ones, and as well as the percentage pen items as well. And then all champions gained a whole bunch of durability stats as well. So they got bonus health growth, as well as armor and magic resist growth as well, to make them more durable throughout the game, allegedly. So let's kind of start with that. I assume you've been playing some League of Legends. How has it felt to play like on patch 12.10?
Yeah, I've only played like a little bit with this patch. I think it came out and I was out of town, and so I really only got like maybe like 5-ish days, and I wasn't playing a ton of games at the time. So it's definitely interesting. I feel like I don't know, when you first look at the overall like stats that they handed out, because it was like the flat stat package that they gave is like 70 base health. You got some 14 health growth, which is like over 18 levels. It's like another 200 health or something. And then you get 1.2 armor, so another 20 armor at level 18, and another like 16 or 15 magic resist at level 18. All that kind of stuff like is just on literally every champ. And I think when you read the numbers, it doesn't seem like that much. Like I can say them out loud and it's like, yeah, no, that seems, I mean, it's important, but it doesn't feel like a whole lot. But you get into some of the games now, and I think you just, after so many years of being used to what old stats are, I swear it just looks like champs have so much health. It feels like it, you like, as an ADC player, it's kind of a notable thing. You just have to hit people more. Your damage numbers are overall lower if you're not building armor pen early, that kind of stuff. It's a big feel thing, and I haven't played too much to get an overall like answer of is it like really good or really bad. But I think it seems like the perception from a lot of people has been pretty good. I don't know. It's definitely different though. It's one of those that's just so surprising to see, kind of after how long we've been used to the old normal, I guess.
Yeah, and so they pretty much they affected a lot of different champions, items, and even runes. So I want to say, long story short, if the champion has a heal or a shield, they probably reduced it in some way, either by like small values of like 10, and also if the item has to do with healing, shielding, or lifesteal. I forgot to mention that too. A lot of the anything that has to do with lifesteal also got nerfed, usually by like 1% or something like that, 1 or 2%. But yeah, just like the entire game was touched by this patch. To, I would say, new season levels of adjustments happened in this 12.10 with all of these changes, but not so much like champion adjustments in terms of damage or cooldown numbers. Just a lot of changes with of shielding, healing, and as well as healing from lifesteal and stuff like that being reduced, and also some of the penetration items leading to less damage as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like you said, it's new season like amount of changes, but the way the game plays is still the same, right? It's just that now a lot like if they introduce new items or a new system, right? And like you don't know how it all works anymore. And that's how it feels now for me, at least. It's like I just am not 100% on like how much damage I'm gonna do or take or that kind of thing. So you have to play differently because of that, but it's not like a new dragon or something where I don't know what to expect. I can kind of have like the idea like, oh, they're gonna take less damage, or have more health or whatever. But it's still the same game underneath it in a way. But yeah, definitely like so many new champs show up because of the changes. There's a ton of like Kog'Maws and Lulus and Twitch going into the bot lane to, take advantage of easier lanes and that kind of stuff. It shakes up the meta because of that, and it throws off a lot of what you get used to is the main changes for most people, I think.
For sure. Was there anything you want to touch on for 12.10 in particular? Maybe some champion changes or any of the item changes or any of the skins that came out here? I think I want to say more High Noon skins came out.
Yeah, we got more High Noon skins. The High Noon skins are pretty cool. I haven't played with any of the ones from 12.10, I think. I might need to get High Noon Samira because that's pretty sick.
Yeah, I would love to see that one.
But overall, I don't know. I haven't played. I guess I've seen the High Noon Scion because I'm a Bao's viewer. That's the one that I've noticed. But other than that, I don't know. This one is definitely. I still feel like I haven't played enough on this patch to have like a super firm opinion on it. Everything seems, it's just all over touch and stuff. So I don't know. I don't think I have a particular person to point out.
Right. And then lastly, I kind of want to mention that for a month there was like this weird leaks and teases of the new champion called Bel'Veth, where it was like weirdly leaked in one place and then leaked in another language, and like a strange gameplay clip with like no explanation, and like almost to the point of like you can't take this seriously with the way this champion audio talks. But it is official, and it dropped. The Bel'Veth drops this week with patch 12.11, but we will save the rundown for what that champion does for next time.
Yeah, we can't talk about too many patches or else we like physically explode. So
yeah, we don't want that. I'll tell you that. So I think the last thing that we can round out our discussion this week with is just a quick rundown of the roster changes that are going on. Starting with the most exciting ones, the entire roster change with Cloud9. So I can't remember if we talked about this last time, but officially they dropped Summit and Winsome. I think we did talk about that.
Yeah,
and then officially they announced that Sven will be moving into support. We might talk about that a little more. Fudge is going back to top lane. It'll be Blabber jungle. Jensen is officially announced for mid, and the announcement video was kind of weird, to be honest. Still Berserker 80 carry, maybe. There's like some weird story.
Yeah, now there's stuff about he might have lost his passport.
Yeah, on purposely, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe he hates playing with Sven. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, Sven will be officially in the support position if everything pans out okay. But I don't know. We'll see. They have a week 10 days to figure this out.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the Cloud9 changes? New support, new mid, new top again. do you feel?
Yeah, I forget exactly how we all talked about it before, but I think it's not bad. It's still wild to me that that Summit's gone. That they did all this to get Summit here, and it felt like it was his team for a lot of spring split, and he got MVP, and now he's legit. Well, now he's going and playing with FPX, I think, if the
I
rumors are
saw
true
that.
there,
Yeah.
which is also kind of wild. But yeah, just to be here for one split, get MVP and drop is crazy to me. I think, but overall, I don't think. I think that the new C9 is still a pretty good team. I'm most interested to see how Sven plays support because I think there's a lot of potential there for that duo. Berserker is obviously really good, and I think Sven is also really good too. But it's just you don't know how it's gonna work out for someone doing a role swap. We saw Fudge do okay in a role swap. I think the role swap to support is probably easier, um, just overall because the champs are easier. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think the biggest question is how good Jensen's going to be coming off his break, and also how good Fudge is going to be kind of coming off of his break from top. But I don't think that'll be a big difference either. It'll probably be like riding a bike for him. But a lot of unknowns, but a lot of potential for this team.
Yeah, and I'm just happy for Jensen's return, and I'm glad that he's come back to a top 5 organization, and to narrow that down, maybe even a top 3 now that he's in it. And so I'm looking forward to see him against the competition once again, and how he'll fare in this new meta as well.
You know what I'll also add on here in terms of people from Cloud9 returning is that Rush has also started streaming again.
Yeah, just came out of the military.
Yeah, right. But I thought it was funny in one of his first streams that he's like he talked about like he said I literally have not followed anything pro play, like not watched League, not played League because like you didn't have time to, and if I did spend my time looking at that, it made him feel sad that he like couldn't play. So people were telling him in his first stream back, it's like, what did I miss, guys? I know that Double Lift retired, I think, and Sneaky retired. And people were like, Jensen's back to C9. And he said, like, it was like a throw. It wasn't a whole big deal, but he was like, that's interesting. Like, I'm a little surprised that he would make his way back to that team. But here he is.
Uh-huh. That's funny. Yeah. And he was saying that, like, oh, I forgot English. And I'm going now and stuff like that. That's pretty funny. I was actually really surprised that he came back to streaming, like, kind of the same week that he's back in the real world now, is how I think about it.
Right.
But anyway, anything else for Cloud9?
No, I think that's it for me.
All right. And then, yeah, a lot of these other roster changes, kind of just skim through them. So for CLG, I think they announced just today that Dokla was promoted to top lane from Academy. So I think Jenkins was there before. So good for Dokla. I know he was grinding out the Champions Queue a lot. Oh, and I think I forgot to include in this document that I think Champions Queue is back as well. I think people are playing that again.
I think that started this week, yeah.
Moving on, Dignitas, we mentioned before that Fake God was removed from the team, and then now they have Gamsu, who
returning.
Played for Dignitas, a long time ago. I remember they made like some chef video of him where he was like cooking or something like that.
Yeah.
So cool guy with the cool story. I think he went to Overwatch, came back. Now he's here again.
That is pretty cool. I think for him it was a little weird. I think these two being the two top laners that got changed, I'll touch on it real quick. I think both of them were in Academy the last split. Dokla on CLG, who is like a number one kind of Academy team for a majority of the split, and Gamsu on 100 Thieves. And I think it's kind of interesting that they both found spots because their stories are a little different. I think Dokla was like far and away the best top laner throughout the Academy split, and then I think I don't remember exactly what happened to CLG in like the tournament at the end, but like they fell off, I think. And I don't know how that looked for Dokla, but for a long time he was like a big deal for how well he was playing. And then Gamsu, on the other hand, I remember from what I had seen during the split, it looked like he was pretty like mediocre, and I feel like for Academy players, you don't want to be pretty mediocre if you're looking to be in a spot, but apparently he had like a really good like cap to the tournament, the Proving Grounds tournament, and just like caught a lot of eyes from that. So it'll be interesting to see if that's something for him that he can like keep up, or if it was like a bit of a fluke just for a couple weeks. But I mean, he's made it back onto an LCS team. I mean, Dignitas is maybe not the best barometer either for orgs making smart decisions, but we'll see how it works out for them.
Moving on, we have a change in Golden Guardians. We kind of talked about this before, but Lost was going to leave the team. And the next AD carry that they're pulling up is Stixay, returning from coaching, I believe, at Golden Guardians.
Coaching their academy team and then having to sub in, and then now he's on their LCS team. It's a little crazy.
Yeah, back to it once again. I don't have much else to say about that. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I think we talked about it when the rumors that Lost was leaving came, and it was like, I thought Lost was pretty good. I'm surprised that they
and I thought they were doing a swap or something like that with Immortals, because that's where Lost ends up going. I thought they were gonna swap AD carries or something like that, but no, they're saving on budget this time around.
Yeah,
but they're Stixay is coming back to the fold here. And we could just push that into talking about some roster changes for Immortals. So a couple of changes here. I think Xerxes did go back to LEC, or maybe to the.
I think it's LEC. I don't think he went to a ERL. Maybe not.
That's the word, ERL.
Yeah, he's for Astralis now. He replaced Sanzara.
Right. Okay. And so they'll be bringing in Kenvi, which I think that came from 100 Thieves. And he's a kid that a lot of people have been talking about for the last couple of years, and he was just too young, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. He's a really touted prospect. Had a pretty similarly like good year this year, but I think it'll be good. I mean, it's cool to see him get a shot. I feel like it sucks that it's one of those where you join the 10th place team as like this exciting rookie, and does he really have what it takes to change a 10th place team from a 10th place team? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. For 80 carries, they did end up. I think Wild Turtle is no longer on the team, and then they were bringing in Lost now as well. But to my understanding, they still have Arrow as well, so I think they still have multiple 80 carries. And who knows if they'll continue to do a timeshare between Lost and Arrow. Or if Arrow's just going to be permanent academy for now, because I guess he's too busy being in documentaries.
Well, in TV shows, it's not a documentary, dude.
Oh, you're right.
He's a full-time actor.
Yeah, out in LA. And then lastly, they made a change in supports from Destiny back to Ignar, who's now back after a split off as well. And I'm kind of surprised he was still in NA. And I think same thing for like Jizuke as well. Apparently he was like around NA for like the whole entire spring split, and then I think he just now found a home again, back out. I think Jizuke went to the ERLs.
Yeah, I think he's in like the Spanish league or French league or something.
But yeah, any thoughts on Kenvi, Lost, and Ignar for Immortals? Does it make you excited for them once again?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely. I'm probably at the same level of Immortals now as I was at the beginning of last split. I thought Immortals seemed like a decent team, with PoE, even Xerxes, Revenge is a good prospect. Right. And I liked Wild Turtle too, right? Like all of that is like last split I thought this is a pretty good team. This split, it seems like it could be a pretty good team, but also they finished last place last year, so I don't know that this is gonna fix all their problems. Is just like shuffling things around, bringing in a rookie jungler. Like it's a little weird. I'm surprised. There's parts of it that are still confusing. It's like if you had Wild Turtle and you had you knew you were bringing on Ignar, I'd think you'd want to keep Wild Turtle because Wild Turtle Ignar literally went to Worlds like 2 years ago, right? Like I don't know. There's just a lot of that like I could see being like pretty like weird decision making from an organizational standpoint too. But I don't know. They should be good. They should be good, but that doesn't mean they will be.
Yeah, I think you put it the best way is like I thought at spring they could have some potential, and then I kind of think of it again as well. Like Power Vivo, Ignar lost, and then we'll just see how Kenvi and Revenge do. But kind of looking at the league last split, I don't know if Immortals can, make a jump from where they were to like 5th or 6th place. I'm not too sure. I mean, maybe they can make it to playoffs because Summer Split usually has an expanded playoffs roster. But we'll see if they're able to make any improvements to their placings.
Yeah, I hope that they're at least competitive. They should be part of like that Dignitas Golden Guardians like middle of the pack group. I don't think they should miss playoffs, but only time will tell.
And speaking of missing playoffs, now TSM. They did end up making one roster change. And kind of surprising, they were doing a lot of team sharing between Kaido and Yurson, I think is his name. Or is Yurson the support?
No, Yurson's
the
support.
Takeover. Takeover is the other mid. And I think they spent a lot of time with Takeover towards the end of the split as well. But then they end up, now they're bringing in Maple, formerly from Flash Wolves, Suning, PSG, and now he's here in TSM, kind of alongside some of his Chowie as well. So we're we're a little late to the conversation here, but I guess when I think they announced this change to the roster, a lot of people were like, "Now you get him," or "Is it too late to get Maple?" and stuff like that. And we saw him do really well on PSG Talent, even in like recent times. So
yeah,
I'm a little mixed on this. Like that's cool that they got him. Kind of nice. How old school player comes to old school organization. I'm sure Maple's super stoked and juiced up to play on TSM and
to get a fat paycheck.
Yeah, and get a fat paycheck, and maybe like the historical thing air about it makes it feel kind of appropriate that TSM signs on legendary mid laner, so to speak, and let's just forget about last split.
Right. Pretend it never happened.
Yeah, I would prefer that too. But I don't know. Yeah, how do you feel about this Maple signing? I'm not really too hyped about it, but also just because like I'm not too hyped about TSM in general. Like I'm kind of down on them after last split, even though they still have some cool players on that team.
I do think it's a decent signing. I think the biggest problem of it is similarly I thought that this was a thing that could have happened over the summer, right? Like that, or like over the off season. Like they had talked about Maple maybe being on, or there were rumors or something. At least it seemed like that to me when this got announced, and I was like, I thought this could have already happened, and they chose to go with a different route. I don't know if that was because things fell apart with Maple or what, right? But I think it still makes sense for overall. Like if you ended up with Kaidua and Takeover from last split, you see that both of them are still like pretty rookie talents, right? But I wouldn't feel bad like about keeping either of them as an academy mid, at least, as a backup to have for your future kind of thing. But you'd need somebody that's like a legit mid laner for LCS, and that was pretty clear. Like that was a weak point for them overall. So I think it's a good signing if he can be like his 2021, 2020, and previous form. He had a rough split, at least in the LPL, so I don't think that's the only thing you should base your judgments off of for him, but like it should also be worrying that he's not, infallible and can't just like single-handedly win games for the team, or turn around the team overall. But they're still a pretty decent team. Last split was kind of wild for a lot of different reasons for the org. So I think if things are a little more stable and Maple can play pretty well, then it should be a good fit. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, and my hope for TSM going into the next season is that I hope that the whole durability patch is going to be a reset for all of the teams of like, okay, now everyone has a chance to see how they've adapted to this, and maybe there could be a big shakeup in the 5 to 10 range of like which teams are there, and maybe TL, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, and EG will still be top 4, but I think there could be a shakeup with the placements of the last 4 or 5 teams, 5 or 6 teams, I meant to say. And TSM certainly does have some strong players on there. Maybe Shenyi is still a little bit of unknown, but they're keeping him along for the ride as well. So I'm happy to see that too. And yeah, we'll see if TSM can move up from what did they finish 9th place? I want to say last split.
Yeah. They beat Immortals.
Yeah. And hopefully like the environment and their management has all stabilized as well. And I kind of also forgot to mention in this article that there was like some changes or I guess proceedings that happened with the whole Peter Zhang thing and then the internal investigation with TSM, which in my opinion, in the end, like nothing's new. So I didn't really kind of forgot about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it. So that shows how much.
It's a whole lot of nothing. Just Peter Zhang's never coming back. Just know that probably.
All right.
But yeah, that we hit on all of the roster changes so far. I don't think I missed any. So there's not too many mid season changes, but totally excited for Cloud9. Kind of want to keep my eye on Immortals and then kind of on everyone else personally.
Yeah, that's kind of true. There's a lot to still see how it goes. I don't know. I think you're right. I'm not too excited about too many teams, but I feel like it's also been so long since the LCS and since we've talked about it too. I feel like I'm forgetting things,
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, I'm excited to have them back next week.
Yeah, so next week we'll probably be back with another episode, and we'll be going over the latest patch. I don't think they'll be playing on this patch, but maybe they would be. But it's only going to be 1 week. I'm not too sure. I don't think they would be playing on this patch. Actually, no, I think they would be, but I think they would be playing on patch 12.11, but definitely not with the new champ enabled.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Was there anything that happened before this champion though? Any reworks? I don't think so.
Not really. Just the Talia and Olaf stuff. Nothing last patch, I don't think.
Okay, yeah. Maybe the Swain stuff, but I kind of doubt we'll see him. Yeah. So next week we'll cover the stuff and then give a preview for the LCS as well. That will be returning next Friday.
Sounds good to me.
So look forward to the episode. All right, and that's going to be it for episode 56 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. Back at it again. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on the service that you are listening to us on if you haven't already. We'd appreciate it if you also give us a rating or hit the like button to show some support. You can find us on YouTube as well as your podcast player of choice, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and so forth. And we'll see you all on the next episode of On the Hunt.
Good to be back, baby.